Okay, so I want to go back to our trusty crayons again. We're going to use our crayons because crayons, I just happen to have a big set. If you don't have a big set, you can use a small set. Oops. Like this, small set. I just knocked something down trying to get to the small set. So I got a set of 8. So the colors, I pulled my colors out that I'm going to use. I have some reds, primaries, the different shades, so it goes from red to orange. I have some blues, the primary blues. I have different yellows, different family of yellows. And then I added a secondary color, green. And green is made by using yellow and blue. And then I've also added a purple. I found a purple. So purple is made from adding, if we were mixing, it would be from the orange or the red and the blue to make purple. So what we want to do, since we did a still life in 3D, we can make a still life. Now it's fresh in our minds. We could make a crayon still life. So the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to put in a horizon line. This will be, say, like our table in the background. So I'm just going to make a light line across like that. The next thing that I'm going to do now, I have the light line because I might go in and erase. I'm going to bring in the apple shape. So I start out with a circle, but it's not an orange, so I'm going to put that little dent in at the top, and bring it around, and put in a little dent at the bottom, and a stem to make my apple. The next shape we're going to make, we'll put in our pear again. So we put in a small circle, big circle, and a little curvy line between, and a curvy line here, and a stem. So now I have a pear, and you can even put a little dent in the back. And then I'll go in and erase my helping circles. Take them out. Things are falling off the table today. That's the way life is. Sometimes things fall down. So I have 2 shapes, 2 big shapes. I like to fill the page with my shapes. So I have 2 big shapes. So I have my apple, my pear, and since I have a family of orange, maybe we can put an orange in the background. And orange is going to be much easier. So we'll just maybe put an orange in the background. We'll make it a little bit smaller. Put that in the background. That'll give us some more color. And we'll take this off. See how I drew right through it? So now I have the orange back here in the background. So the orange shape is a round shape. So we got an orange. And then for the back of the orange, let's see, we'll give it like a little star kind of thing. It has like a little star kind of where the stem was. And a little circle there. So a lot of times what we do is we want to go out and buy coloring books and then color them in. But if you have a marker like this one, you can go in and make your own coloring page. So I'm going to outline this with my marker, black marker. If you don't have a black marker, you could use a black crayon. So I'll make a big shape. Sometimes a big black marker is even better. These help give me my safety borders. The back, I'm going to draw around Put my orange in the background. And I'm going to put my little starry thing here. My little stem where the stem was in the back of the orange. A little circle. Then the apple. Just trace the line that I made for the apple. Go around, 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 like this. And the stem. And now the last thing is we want to put in our back of the table, horizon line. It's just a little piece, but I know where it goes because I drew the whole thing through there and through there like that. Now that I have my black outlines, I can erase my pencil marks. Just erase them right out. Whoa, just take them right out. Now I'm going to do something, borrow something from what cartoon artists do. Take this off, wipe that right off. I'm going to actually put in my highlights at the beginning, because with crayons sometimes you can forget to put in your highlights. So I'm going to make believe the light's coming in this way, and I'm going to put a little highlight, curvy highlight there, and a curvy highlight right there, and a little curvy highlight here. Maybe even a double. Sometimes things have double highlights. So I'll put a double highlight there. Now the rest is the fun part, because you could probably finish this yourselves right now. So since I put tape around mine, I'm going to put like a little border around this with my crayon. And I think I'll start, since I have this purple, I'm just gonna, just to give it a little tone around the edges, put a little border around this, right around the tape. Make my frame, enhance my frame. And color that in. And color this in right here. This doesn't have to be real neat. Just gonna color it in. Color that in. The edges. Purple edge. Right through the edge. Alright, I might colors. Maybe I'll put 2 colors in there on my frame. A little red to go with it. And 2 colors. Red right around the border. Right there. Yeah, maybe I'll put some yellow in there too. Okay. So let's start with the bright color, the orange. It's pretty bright. So what I always like to do is start out with a color underneath the color. So I'm going to start my orange with some yellow. Put a little yellow and mix. In crayons you can mix. So if I put a little orange down, a little yellow first, And then I'll put some orange on top of the yellow. And the highlight I'm going to leave alone. That stays white. So one thing I have to remind myself of with my heavy hands is I can't press down. Usually I would say draw with the back here, but with the crayons they break. So I use the crayons close to the tips just to kind of get the color in. Really work that color in there. And my lines give me my safety borders. Now I'll take some of my orangey color and put that right over the yellow. And where the sunlight is hitting, I'm not going to rub down as much. I'm going to rub down a little less. So I'll show you what I mean. See, I'm just kind of like putting it down, but not putting it down real hard. A little less. But when I get over here, I'm going to really rub it in. See, like right in here, I'm going to rub it in. Rub it, really rub it in. And rub it in, rub it, rub it, rub it, rub it. And here, we're going to make it lighter. Light. Crayons, crayons. I'll put some more crayons. Yeah, rub it in good here. Rub it really good. Rubber, rubber, rubber. Rub it, that color in really good. See, now it makes it look like it's round. Put that in there. So, overdo it, but this is my color. But I like to really get some color in. A lot of times what happens with coloring anything, color pencils, you could do this with color pencils if you don't have crayons. Or you can do it with color markers if you have those. You know, you just need something to color with. So there we go. We got that orange in, that orange color in. Now, since we're right in the family, let's go over here. The only difference here now, we started out with yellow. Let's start out with a darker yellow, this yellow. And then we'll go to this color. And then we're going to go to this color. And then maybe a little purple. And we're going to leave the highlight. So, this is a little bit darker yellow. The artist called this yellow ochre. It's like a dark yellow. So I'll rub some of this in. Rubber, rubber, rub, rub, dub. Color that, when you put color in, every color influences the other color. So if I leave white, then the color white will influence the color on top. So I like to have a little color underneath. This is what they call undercolor. In painting, we call it underpainting. It's very important. A lot of people like to leave this step out, the underpainting part. But the underpainting or the undercolor is really important. So now, I'm going to use this orange here in the lighter area of the apple. And we don't want the apple to look like the orange, so we're going to make it darker red. Put this in here. And the color in. I'm just going to put in a little color here, red. And It's like an orangey red. Bring it over a little bit, over to here. Really bring it in. So I bring it all the way over. This is how I blend it. So I'll bring it in all the way over to here. Now I'll take my darker red, and this is what's going to make it look like it's the apple and not the orange. So now we got that. And we're going to rub it down with this color. And it's bringing it, starting to make it look like it's red. And rub it in good into your paper. Don't rush it. Take your time. There we go. See my lines, if I mess up a little bit around the edges, I got my black lines to make it look neater. Because I made a coloring book out of this. And so now I want to make it a little bit darker. I can do two things. You would think I get a darker red, but I can take this purple and rub some of this in. Give it a little shade of difference. It's kind of hard to see it on the camera, but rub a little of that in. And if you have watercolor at home, you could wash some watercolor. When you finish everything, you can wash a little watercolor over that, and it'll take away all the little white spots. Because the crayons, sometimes the crayons won't get into all the little spots. Rub that in. So what I'm doing is I'm trying to make it go from this area light and this area dark. So go into the shade. And the next color I'm going to use, I'm going to take this blue. I want to make it even darker down here. And the way to do that is to bring in some of this blue. And the blue is not going to make it look blue because there's red underneath. And the red acts as our undercolor. So every layer influences the other layer. So we'll put that in there. And rub that in. Real good, good. So now we got that. That brings in our shade. Now we can do the same thing over here with the orange. Take a little bit of this blue color right on top. And bring in some shade next to it. And I almost forgot about one important thing. But it's not too late. It's never too late when your mind's thinking. It's our shadows. We'll put in our shadows. You can put in your shadows. It could be crazy shadows too, you know. Like sometimes you can make a different shadow from what you see on top. So here, we'll put in the, maybe I'll put in the blue shadow. And then color. Sometimes an artistic license. And then a shadow. We'll shift this shadow here. We'll bring it around like this. Like that. And the stem off the shadow. And put it in a color. And the apple. Maybe a little shape underneath here for the apple shadow. And color it in. Like that. So now we got the shadows, we got the apple, now we need the pear. I got a weird looking pear to me, but so I'm going to start out with a light color. Maybe this is the time to make a green pear. I like green pears. Give us different. Pear gives us the opportunity to put it in different colors for our still life. So here I'm starting out with the yellow. It's weird, but it works. Actually, if I was painting this, I could start all of it with yellow first. If I get a little yellow in here, it's okay. That'll help the shadow. Bring it right into the shadow. Put some of this yellow into the shadow. Because what happens is the color from the subject reflects into the background or the surface that it's on. So everything next to everything reflects its color to the other object. So we'll see if we can do some of that. Okay, so I'll put the stem on. I might just put it in black with the marker, the stem with black. And then the next color here, we want to make this a green. So I want a green pear. So I'm going to start out with a light green first. I love eating green pears. And I'm an artist, so we can make the green brighter than the green pear that I eat, but because we're just being influenced by the colors. We're going to put in some green over the yellow. You see I'm holding this darker green over here. And then remember what makes green, right? Yellow and blue. So when I want to make it even darker down near the bottom, I will get some of the blue. Rub some of this thing real good. Rub. It's in. Usually what happens is that you gotta take your time with your coloring. You have time, so take your time. The time we work too fast, we want to get it done real fast. Say, I'm done. And you're not really done. You gotta get that color in. So put some more of this color down. And the more of the color you can put in, the better your picture. So now we got this darker green. And I want to make it a little bit darker, but I want to leave some of the lighter color. So, you see my highlights, see my highlights. If you can remember not to color in those spaces, you don't have to use the black. But it's a good reminder, that's where the highlights are when you draw it. If I was trying to make a realistic still life, I wouldn't do that. Color this in. Maybe leave a little bit of yellow in there on the top where the light's hitting it, and then bring it down here and really go dark. Rub this stuff. Really get this color in. Push that color in good. So there's a lot of stuff here. You may say, oh, we're getting close to finish. We're almost finished. No, we could do stuff here in the background, foreground. A lot of times we want to just do this, but we got the background and the foreground. That's what helps. And we also have this horizon back here. Now you notice what we did. We made this shape, and we put this shape in front of this shape. And these two shapes, this is an adjacent shape. See, they just touch. They're adjacent. But this shape's in front of this shape. And I'll tell you, this is a little tricky. But we've taken the high energy color and we put this green color in front of it. And the high energy color, they push, this one wants to come forward, but we made it go back by putting this pear in front of it like that. Artists, we're tricky. We can do stuff like that. More color. So that, and now I want to make it even darker. Remember I said these two colors make this color. So I'm going to make this color, this blue color, make this darker. And it doesn't look blue because it's mixing with the green. And the more colors I lay on top of colors, the prettier it gets. The prettier it gets, you know, when you lay the color down. So put that in. I'll show you a little trick. This one we already bounced some of this color into this one because we used some of the blue in this one. We bounced some of the color into this one. But let's bring in some of this red, bounce some of this red into this reflective color. So right here, just bring a little bit of that orange into the pear. Not much, just a little bit. And you can try this at home. Get an orange and a lemon and bring them close together, and you'll see some of the color from the orange bounce to the lemon. Okay, so there we go. There's a little bit of that color on there. Like that. Now we have the background, and I think what I'm going to do for the background, you can choose your own color background. I already have a little interesting border going around it, so maybe I'll keep it light for the background. I'm going to use this lime color. And make me a lime background. Now we could say, okay, we could actually leave this alone, but we had time. time is right now, because we're doing work on the online. It'd be kind of interesting to make maybe an interesting pattern on here. Maybe I'll leave it as a white, but maybe I'll make it a plaid. So, and I think I'll make my plaid going diagonally. You don't have to do it this way. You could make hearts, shapes. I'm going to make a plaid. Background. I'm just going to make some stripes going down like this. The crayon. This way. Stripes. What I like about you is that you'll do this and not really fear. Sometimes the older generation, we get scared to try and do things. Just, you could do this. Okay, so now I made my stripes, and I'm going to color in every other stripe. Color right over the shadow. Could just leave it like this. Some people might just leave it like this, or you might like it like this with stripes, or you can put designs inside the stripes. So I'm gonna go this way, crisscross, and maybe this time as I'm doing it, I'm gonna fill them in as I go along. Reminds me of the old tablecloth. When you get right here, make this a little bit darker, like a little box. And right here, make this little box a little darker. Make it look like it's plaid. Like that. And then we'll go across again. Another one. Fill that in. A little dark. Fill this in. And dark. And fill that in. This one a little darker, little box. Box there, fill that in. Draw. Make that darker right there. And then this is the last one right here. Let me fill that in. And I see there's a little dark here. So now we got our still life, and we have our shadows. We got our pear and our oranges. I guess the next thing to do is we made our little border around the edges. Let's do the unveiling. Let's see what it looks like. So I'm going to take the tape off. I'm going to take it off gently. Just kind of like roll it off the tape. There's one. And we take the tape off. And there we go. So now we have our still life. It was very simple to do. Give it a shot. Try it at home. And to spend your time with it. We made the yellow first, and the oranges, and the greens, and the reds, and the orange. And we made this pear. And we made the pear in front of this one, this shape. And then we finished it to really embellish it. Embellish the still life. We brought in pattern. So we have pattern and 3 dominant shapes right here. And then we made a border at the beginning. We ran around the side of the border. Alright, so give this a try. Try this at home.